So, a lot of people when they're taking and out panning for gold, they're gonna take and bring a couple different or one type of classifier. I figured I'd show the different types of classifiers. So this one actually is only a classifier because the wife broke the deep fryer, and I looked at that and I'm like, that'll fit in a bucket, so now it's mine. This is your standard bucket classifier. You just cut some strips out of a bucket, sink a couple rivets in there to hold the mesh in place. This is your pan style bucket classifier. It'll sit in there right like that. And then these are your stackable classifiers. Now, these ones are real good with a couple of those in just a bucket when you're in deep enough water where you can cycle everything through. But the issue that I have with them, when you're setting up to run a sluice box, so you got it set up like that. We'll get a shovel full like that and dump it in. And then, as you can see, the water doesn't reach this. So you gotta shake and splash the water around. So you've got, as you can see, I mean, barely an inch here. So yes, it washed all of that, but if you have more than an inch or two, it's going to be real slow classifying all that out. And then we've still got this, so you can see some sand and leaves and rocks, and it doesn't sit low enough to really get down in the water without taking and filling it up to that point, which then as soon as you start classifying, see, it's all running out there, so you can work around, but it's going to take a lot more water and an extra bucket just to fill this up to dump into this one to get it to classify through. So if these are underwater, they work very good. If you can't get them underwater, it's going to take a bit. So then the next thing, okay, well, you've got your bucket classifier, and that's a good probably three inches in the water. So you dump that in there, and works real good to take and classify everything down. But as you're rubbing on here, it'll catch and it'll take and it'll kind of bind up on you. So what I did is I've got this extra little bit of a lip, so it'll kind of sit there, but it'll still bind when I'm taking and stratifying everything down. There's some pretty looking rocks in there. But this one, I mean, you can make this for a couple bucks, where I spent like $110 buying 10 of those, so I can classify all the way down for a blue bowl if I so choose. Now, this is real good when you're wanting to take and go test pan somewhere and you have a large enough pan. So I have the Garrett Super Sluice. I bought this 6 months ago or so. It is very, very good, very quick, and this pan actually sits down inside of it. So you can take, toss that there. Dump it in like that. Add a little bit of water. Classifier right into the pan like that. Get rid of those leaves. And then real quick be left just with this kind of stuff. And then let's get out to some cleaner water. I think it's deep enough right here. And then stratify. Lot easier with two hands, that's for sure. And then get down, and when you're test panning, nothing that time. But so when you're test panning, you can pack very, very light. But when you're doing a bucket like this, if you want anything smaller than that, you're kind of SOL. But it does work very well. In a bucket, just drop it in there. Shift it around, and you're done. Now, there is one company I have seen that makes actual classifiers like this, so you don't have to wait for your wife to break the deep fryer. I haven't used theirs, but I've seen a lot of them used. Now, I mean, that's a good probably 5 inches deep. And so we will take, so it's still legal for about another week for me to dig in the river. So I have only got a few more days that I can do this, but get a couple nice shovelfuls. I mean, I'm not even worrying about those larger rocks, which would normally pull those out. But if you're filling up a 5-gallon bucket to run your sluice, it's got to be quick. So with the arbor fabricating, I've seen that they've got a handle kind of like this. Just grab, toss out, make sure all those cracks and crevices are clean. Toss out all of the big rocks to make sure the stuff on the bottom gets nice and washed. If you're like me, get distracted looking through the rocks. Say I'm looking for gold, but I'm just looking for pretty rocks. And so stratified that quick down to next to nothing really. And I mean, there's probably about 1/3 of a bucket that quick between these couple of classifiers. So depending on where you're going and what you're doing, each one kind of has its place and how much money you're trying to spend on them. Well, someday I will get my hands on an arbor fabricating one to see how it holds up compared to the rest of these. But let's get some clean water. And with that mesh being down inside the water, once I get some water in this, I'll show you guys. But so with that mesh being in the water, that sand just falls away. I mean, I was basically just dropping it in there, moving it with my hand once, and all that sand's already fallen to the bottom. So with those arbor fabricating, you're gonna have sand fall out of the side and the bottom. With this, the sand's just gonna fall out the bottom, so you gotta shift and rotate everything down to get everything washed. With this, your sides are still blocked, so water is only accessing through here to wash stuff down. Same with these ones. So out of all of the different classifiers I have, when I'm out test panning, sometimes I'll take that one, but this is my go-to because it's just so much quicker. I mean, get a shovel full, drop it in, set it down, and I'm done. As you can see, small little rocks. I don't see any sand in there, and literally I just picked it up like that, and I'm done. As I've said, I don't have a arbor fabricating one. They're expensive, so I haven't talked myself into buying one yet. I probably will when that dies because I can't find too many deep fryers that I can tear apart for parts. But for the time and efficiency, that is my go-to. That really just knocks everything else out the park. I mean, Buddy and I we shoveled 60 gallons of sand, threw that into a bucket, and then ran it through my gold cube a couple days ago. And I think it took us 3 hours or so. So depending on what you're doing, try and pack light, because whatever you pack in, you got to pack back out. If you're literally just carrying stuff in, don't stress a freight bag backpack. I bought that off of Amazon. Alps Outdoors. I got this with the bag to go on it for like $120 or $130, I think it was. And my one issue is those, so I'm gonna stick some pool noodles there so to make it ride a little easy. But that makes packing a sluice box, buckets, shovel, all that kind of stuff in so much easier. I wish I would have bought it years ago. I was being cheap and I was like, yeah, I'll just kind of manhandle everything and make it work, and work smarter, not harder. That is what I have learned after years and years of doing stuff the dumb way. But hey, it's all a learning process, so they say. Well, I think I'm gonna take and pan out that bucket and fill up a couple more to haul up, and maybe I'll do a video with my gold cube, show you guys what I find. Well, hope to see you guys on the river and find some gold. That's all you can do. All right, have a good one. Bye.